In my last video, this alert told me that a Etihad A380 was about to fly over my house. A few minutes later, I was outside trying to photograph it at almost 40,000 feet, but I only briefly explained where that alert came from. It is not an aviation photography app. It is something I built myself. And since making that first video, it has become quite a bit more complicated. Hi, I'm Ben Giroir. In the last video, I showed what happened during my first week photographing airliner at cruising altitude with the Sony A7 V and the Sony 200 to 600mm lens. The photography itself was difficult, but there was another problem I needed to solve first. How do I know when an interesting aircraft is actually going to pass close enough to photograph? I could keep an aircraft tracking app open all day and constantly watch the sky. But I have a job, a family, and occasionally other things to do. So instead, I built a system that watches for me. Today, I want to show you what the alert actually means, what happens before I receive it, and how I use it to decide whether I should grab the camera. At any given time, there can be a lot of aircraft moving through the area. But an aircraft being nearby does not automatically make it a good photography opportunity. It might pass too far away. It might be hidden behind cloud. The light might be terrible. It might travel through an area of the sky that I cannot see properly from the house. Or it might simply be too small and too far away to produce a photograph worth keeping. I do not want an alert every time an aircraft enters a large circle around me. And if you're looking from these, it happened. It would become annoying very quickly. I want the system to tell me when I have a realistic chance of getting a photograph. So the process begins with this system detecting an aircraft approaching the area. It looks at the aircraft's current position, the altitude, the direction, the speed, and recent path it has taken in the past. From that information, it tries to estimate where the aircraft is going and how close it may pass to my location. That prediction is important because the aircraft might still be quite far away when I receive the first alert. I need enough warning to stop what I am doing, find the camera, and get outside. Preferably with the lens cap already removed. I am still working on that part, to be honest. This is what one of the alerts may look like. At the top, I have the aircraft and the basic flight information. I can see the aircraft type, its altitude, and the direction it is traveling. The system also estimates how close it should pass and roughly how long I have before it reaches the best part of the sky. But the alert is not only looking at the aircraft. It is also trying to answer a much more useful question. Is this likely to be worth photographing? A clear sky can look perfect from the ground, but photographing through almost 12 kilometers of atmosphere is another matter. Haze, moisture, cloud, and poor flight can remove a surprising amount of detail. So, the system checks the condition around the predicted path. It looks at whatever clouds may block the aircraft. It considers the position of the sun and whether the aircraft is likely to be strongly backlit. it also tries to estimate whether condition could produce a contrail. Contrail can be extremely useful for two reasons. They can make the final photograph more interesting, and they make the aircraft much easier to find. Without one, I may know exactly where the plane should be and still spend the entire pass pointing the camera at an empty sky. The aircraft itself also matters. A large 4-engine aircraft like an A380 or a 747 is generally a better target than a small airliner passing at the same distance. Some aircraft are also unusual enough that I would want to photograph them even in the conditions that are not perfect. The system can give more importance to larger aircraft and common type, military aircraft, government aircraft, helicopter, or anything else that may be worth stepping outside for. The goal is not to tell me that an aircraft exists. There are already plenty of apps that can do that. The goal is to decide whether this particular aircraft on this particular path in these particular conditions might produce an interesting photograph. This alert is a good example. The aircraft was approaching at cruising altitude and its current path suggested it would pass close enough to photograph. The system expected a visible contrail and gave the opportunity a strong enough rating to get my attention. That does not guarantee the photograph. It only tells me that the opportunity is probably worth trying. At this point, the computer's job is mostly finished. Now it becomes my problem. According to the alert, the aircraft should be coming from over there. I should have a few minutes before it reached the closest part of the pass. The prediction gives me an area of the sky to watch, but it cannot tell me exactly where to point the lens every second. The aircraft can change direction slightly. The wind can move the contrail, and sometimes the real conditions do not match the forecast. There it is. Once I find the contrail, I follow it toward the front until I reach the aircraft. Then I can zoom back in and try to keep it inside the frame. And this is what the alert produced. The alert did not take the picture. It did not focus the camera, track the aircraft, or stop my hand from shaking. But it got me outside at the right time, looking in the right direction with a realistic chance of getting the shot. That is really the purpose of the system. It reduced the amount of luck involved before I press the shutter. It still gets things wrong. In the last video, one alert identified the wrong aircraft. Another one gave me a photograph of a plane that almost certainly does not exist. There are also alerts where the predicted path changes, the cloud arrives at the wrong moment, or I simply cannot find the aircraft. But those failures are useful. Every time the prediction is wrong, I can compare what the system expected with what actually happened. Did the aircraft pass farther away? Was the light worse than expected? Was there a contrail? Could I find it at all? And was the final photograph actually any good? That information helped me make the next alert more useful. I built this because I enjoy the photography, but I also enjoy solving the problem around the photograph. There is something satisfying about receiving an alert, walking outside a few minutes later, finding a tiny aircraft in the sky, and then seeing how much detail the camera managed to capture. It combines a few things I am interested in. Photography, aviation, weather, data, and probably an unnecessary amount of technology. But without that unnecessarily technology, I would have missed most of these photographs. The system is still evolving. I am continuing to improve the prediction, reduce bad alert, and teach it what actually makes an aircraft worth photographing. Eventually, I want it to understand not only whether an aircraft will pass nearby, but whether the light, weather, aircrafts, and possible contrail are likely to produce a genuine good photograph. For now, it's already doing its main job. It tells me when to grab the camera. What happens after that is still up to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.